So I'm sure you're all familiar with the scene from The Matrix when the main character is offered a choice between the red pill and the blue pill. Well, today I'm going to give you that choice. You could take the red pill and know the truth, or you could take the blue pill and continue living in a fantasy. So which one will you choose? Now I'm guessing most of you will choose the red pill. But then you'll reach out for this. And if I tell you that this is not the red pill, that this is the blue pill, you'll punch me in the face, or maybe even kill me. Because the truth is, we all want to believe our fantasy is real. Whatever our fantasy might be. And if you don't believe me, try going to Pakistan and telling them that Islam is a fantasy, that it's not real, and see what happens. Now, I've been thinking recently about the first person, caveman, Neanderthal, whatever they were, who realized that everybody dies. And you might assume that everybody always knew that. I mean, we see death all around us, so why wouldn't they understand that everybody dies? Or why would they, though? I mean, look what happened when we finally had to accept the reality that everyone dies. Did we accept it? No. Sure, we accepted that we died, but we didn't accept that we ceased to exist. We just transfer over to this other place. And, oh, by the way, that other place is way better than this place. I mean, it's paradise. Unless you were bad, and then it's hell. Or maybe you're reincarnated into another person or creature, but you don't just cease to exist. That idea is terrifying. We use fantasy because the truth is ugly and scary. Fantasy is so much better. I mean, think about it. When I was a kid, there was a movie called Crow. And in that movie, it was a fantasy movie, there were these Cyclops. Cyclops is, however you say, the plural. Anyways, they made some deal where they would give up one of their eyes to see the future, to be able to see the future. However, they were double-crossed, and the only future that they could see is the day they died. Would you want to know the day you die? We all want mystery in our lives. Sure, we want to know some truth, but we don't want to know all the truth. And fantasy or imagination is very important to human beings because that's what allows us to build things. The first part of building anything, anytime we build something, we start with a plan. A plan is a fantasy that we want to make real. The competition for power is about building something. So it begins with a fantasy or a plan. That plan may be something simple like, I want to be the one making the rules. But whatever your plan is, there are 7 billion people with other plans, with different plans. Now there's some people who will just go along with someone else's plan. There's a lot of people out there, or enough people out there, that want their own plan, that we're in competition for the power to make that plan a reality. That power I call K-power or king power. So fantasy is very important, but it's also causing a lot of division, a lot of destruction, a lot of problems for the human race. Personally, I do want fantasy, but I like some truth. I like my fantasy to be close or have a lot of truth in it. When I was a kid, I was a huge fan of Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. And when I read that the Thuggee cult was real, that excited me because I like the idea that this story could be real. I like stories that could be real. So I like a mixture, I suppose, of the two. I don't want to know all the truth. I want mystery in my life, but I also want to know some truth. So here's the truth. I'm going to give you the truth right now. The truth is that nobody, not one single person on this planet knows the truth. There's a reason why we believe in fantasy beyond being afraid, being unhappy with the ugliness of reality. There's the fact that we don't know reality. Think about all the things that you just have to accept. When they tell you there's 1 billion people in China, have you counted? What are you going to do? Go there and count? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, yep, 1 billion. No, you just accept it. Okay, if you say there's 1 billion people, I have no reason why I wouldn't believe you. So I accept that that is true. The fact is, I don't know if it's true or not. There's so many things like that around us, and there's so many things where we get a bunch of choices. Who killed Kennedy? Was it Oswald? The CIA? The Mafia? The Cubans? Who killed him? Choose. Because you don't really know. You could do some research, perhaps. But even so, if you're biased, you're going to ignore everything that doesn't point to what you want to believe. There's bias, there's lack of knowledge. So we all believe in a fantasy. We all have to believe in a fantasy because we don't know the truth. And that applies to the past, the present, and the future. And that applies to the competition for power. Now the fantasy, the competition for power, as I said, it's a plan of how we want to make the world and the human society that lives on it. So we're going to keep on competing for power until we could either build the planet Earth the way we want it to be, or we kill ourselves. Will we kill ourselves due to a fantasy? Most likely. All the wars that have ever been fought have been fought over fantasy. Whether it's a religious fantasy, a personal fantasy, it might be an emotional fantasy. Whatever it is, you insulted me, or you insulted my country, my religion, whatever, so I have to go to war with you. Maybe I want your land so I could make something better. Whatever it is. Wars have always been fought over fantasy. Fantasy is a great thing, but it's also something that could possibly destroy us. It's the reason for the competition for power. And it quite possibly might kill us in the end. So, take your blue pill, but I'll give you the red pill to mix it with it. And I hope that you are able to keep your mind open to the red pill. It's not an easy thing. If you've taken that blue pill, you may have closed your mind down. The red pill have no effect on you. There can only be one plan. only one fantasy that can be built. Will we succeed in building the world the way we want it to be, or the way whomever wins the competition for power wants it to be? I think the chances are better that we'll kill ourselves. But that's the reason why I want to end the competition for power. That's the reason why I have this fantasy of the competition in this party. I have a fantasy of finding a better way to choose leaders and eventually ending the competition for power. So that's my fantasy.